Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. Bit of a serious video today, incredibly serious, and it's a video where I could use your help, and it's nothing related to my channel or nothing related to me. So to give you a complete backstory, for the last 2 months on my off internet time, when I'm not doing videos or anything else, I've sort of been perusing around a lot of online identify or trace an image programs. If you don't know what these programs are, I'm actually not even surprised. I've barely seen them talked about on YouTube, or I've barely seen them sort of tossed around on social media. Now, when it comes to the internet and illegal content, I've been doing the deep web stuff for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, years upon years. When I was actively doing them for each week, I could absolutely tell you there were plenty of sites that were sharing absolutely illegal material, and from time and time again, they would go up and they would go down. And a lot of these websites were just honeypots in general, but one of the largest websites ever, on the deep web got shut down. How many users did this website have? 400,000 apparently. Information shared around. Indictments were sent out. German police ended up taking it all down. In fact, it wasn't just German police. This was every federal agency in every big country out around the world working together to hunt these sickos down. From what I understand, 3 administrators were taken down, and they're still on the hunt from everybody around. And when it comes to these kind of takedowns and stings, these are years in the process. This website that they had mentioned on the dark web is one that I have seen floating around. Never clicked on it because we all know that it's full of illegal material. I believe that in a slight way it was a federal honeypot, and it may actually be. They may have been investigating this site for years just to have removed it, and also identify a billion other people on this website and see where they end up going. So these kind of investigations take years to process, but when that hammer comes down, boy, when that hammer comes down, they're not fucking around. The feds do not fuck around. High conviction ratings, these sickos are going to prison for a very long time. Now, it's because of these images and it's because of this material that constantly gets shared around. They need our help. And they need it bad, So this is a very important video. I want to preface this all by saying, unless you have evidence information or tips that can actually feasibly provide any tangible help, please submit it to tips.fbi.gov, Do not just do it willy-nilly. When you go to a website like this, you are not providing false information. That could subject you to fines, and that's just in the United States. Other parts of the world have similar laws as well, so unless you have concrete tips provided to them. Now, what kind of tips are we asking about? Well, if you don't know, as I mentioned earlier, Trace an Object is a new program in other parts of the world. For the FBI, they have constantly had the FBI seeking information, most wanted. It's their entire section. This is a program called ECAP, which has existed since, I would say, 2004. Now, if you go to their website over here, you can actually see that they have an entire poster, a PDF that you can view. Now, this, you can contact an ECAP investigator, again, if you have a feasible tip or anything. Now, why would I make this video to sort of talk about this? Well, if you open this entire thing up, you can see that this collage includes multiple images, some of them low resolution. Now, the reason why these images are important, so let's scroll down just a little bit. They have a baseball cap, with a C logo. Now, this image was found in a whole set of illegal material that the federal agencies are investigating. So now, what's happened over here is the FBI needs the assistance of everyone in the world, literally everyone in the world, to help them identify what the fuck this hat actually is. So to really tell you what's going on. Normally, a lot of federal agencies now in 2021 utilize machine learning algorithms, YouTube CSAI is an amazing tool for this. It's a tool that YouTube has invested tons of money into. It literally will help identify illegal material fingerprinted digitally, and YouTube will facilitate working with law enforcement to help take down illegal material. It's free technology that if you run a big website, like Reddit or Tumblr, you can utilize this technology to help fight against illegal material. And YouTube completely gives it for you. YouTube will help license this. YouTube will help facilitate it for everyone involved. YouTube literally uses it on this website as well, which is why you will barely see the material. The technology is good. but it's not perfect. Understandable, machine learning algorithms rely on a bunch of data sets to be fed in. Sometimes the data doesn't exist because if we go back to the hat, this might be a pretty unrecognizable hat, okay? If you look at my hat right now, you could probably see that, yeah, it's a New York Yankees hat. It's a very recognizable logo, and you may be able to even trace this hat to where it was produced in the United States if you were a great enough investigator. However, you come across hats like this where, at least to me, I can't recognize the logo. That is to say, the FBI hands out these images because they know that there are people out there in the world that may have some idea of what this logo is, and that helps narrow down the location. This is where machine learning and computer technology fails, because computers don't know that this exists. Human beings, the 8 to 9 billion of us that exist on the planet, one of us may have some idea of what this hat is, and if there's a tangible fact provided to the federal agencies, they'll be able to help shut this down, hopefully. Here's another real good one by the feds, okay? So they actually have an image of the stained glass window. Now, to understand, computers like Google searches, Google image searches, YouTube CSIA matches, a lot of these tools will probably not be able to identify it, because holy fucking shit, this is one stained glass piece in the middle of nowhere. What the feds really want is they want somebody who has seen this exact design to report where they've seen it, so that now, if that design is confirmed, the federal agencies can literally narrow their location down from the entire globe to one very specific part of possibly the United States, right? So you'll have people who identify like, I've seen that weird goose thing somewhere. Hell, there might be a chance that one of you who's watching this video right now may have seen this goose and have no idea about its importance to the FBI. And now you can provide a tangible tip to the federal agencies and hopefully get sick fucking criminals arrested. Now, the reason why no one's really, I guess, heard of this is when you look at Trace an Object, all right, you get a bunch of Photoshop tutorials, but I mean, the top search by Europol Tube literally is sitting with 6.2 thousand views. Now, if you don't know what Europol is the European Union's version of, I guess, the FBI, where they facilitate themselves with every other country, like Spain, Germany, whatever you want to call it. And they also have their own program as well, too. So, again, I want to just put a little disclaimer from them. Out of respect for victims, we urge not to share any personal information, recognizable pictures, names with anybody online or on social media. This is important, okay? Unless you're trying to help law enforcement. You're not trying to get internet fucking brownie points, okay? By doing that, you can seriously compromise an investigation. You need to, again, report anything you know, not to people in this community, not to fucking Reddit, not to Twitter, not to Facebook, not to YouTube. You need to report it directly to tips.fbi.gov or whatever equivalent exists for Europol. Now, of course, they have images that they've even cut out a lot more, and this is where I think it kind of fails a little bit. For instance, right here, they have, do you recognize this newspaper, right? So you have a image of a newspaper, obviously very low resolution. I almost doubt that you could feed this image into an OCR engine, into any like AI engine, and they'll be able to give you some credible idea of where this is from. This image probably doesn't exist anywhere else. This is something that they've cut out specifically to show you. So again, if anybody recognizes anything about this newspaper, the way that, you know, pages are laid out, maybe this specific text, if you can make it out, sure. But if somebody does recognize it and they submit the tip, so they literally have a giant send information button right the fuck here, you can help report this information, give them all the information they want, and hopefully this leads to an actual tangible arrest. Now, in recent years, even Australia has joined in onto the party too, and these are about the 3 countries I know that are actually doing these programs, and from what I've understood, these programs are doing really good, okay? So, for instance, they've literally said from Europol and Australia's variant of this, the removal of 10 kids from actual harm, so that's great. The arrest of 3 offenders, okay? And 26,000 tips on possible origins or objects, and I believe all these tips are at least useful. Every tiny bit of information matters. 102 identified objects, which they probably couldn't identify from like basic, you know, engines that they have, like AI engines. 93 cases where a likely country of abuse was identified, and then several ongoing investigations working to establish the identity of victims and offenders. So yeah, these are all ongoing investigations, and they need help. Now, to show one image from this that's not going to trigger you, to. This is a hat. So they've literally shared an image of a hat. Now, this is report 2101-001. This is a hat with the video characters from video game Five Nights at Freddy's. Do you have any further information about its availability in Australia? So yeah, we go back to hats. There's a lot of hats when it comes to these ECAP investigations for some reason. But this is a hat of FNAF. Obviously, you can see you've got Foxy, Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie. I hope I got all those right, by the way. I've really... that was a random guess, 100%. But this is a hat that's out there with FNAF, right? Now, there's chances that FNAF merch exists everywhere, obviously. And this kind of a hat may be shipped everywhere, to be honest with you. But if this hat is being sold by someone in Australia, and you know that, and you have the tip to help Australia's Europol branch, go for it. 100%. Submit the tip. Because, again, every little information matters. And this might be one of the best ways to help stop illegal material being shared online. So, ladies and gentlemen, to tie everything off, we've all been on YouTube and seen recent investigations, you know, like this vigilante investigations play out, and unfortunately, I would say kind of fail. You know, mishandled, if you will, and the feds can't accept those kind of evidences. The feds can't accept those vigilante investigations. It baffles me that there are exact programs like this, just not, you know, advertised well enough, that people do not participate in, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube, the site that you're watching right now, probably invests millions of dollars to work on an AI system that they license for free to stop sick shit like this. But we've gotten to a point where systems reach a failure point, right? Systems cannot identify what they have never witnessed. And this is where, you know, I feel like more YouTubers, or at least, you know, like this needs to be better advertised to the average public, especially now that we live in this internet age where, we've been living in it for a while, but we live in an internet age where, at least for me, I've been doing this for like 2-3 months out of my own time, like the best that I can to submit tips and all this type of information. But I realize that my community is fairly large too, and it's amazing. And from a numbers perspective, there's probably a Some Ordinary Gamers viewer in like every fucking country out there at this point, if my analytics are to be believed. There's a lot of people in America, just like there's, you know, a fair amount of people in like Lithuania or whatever other country exists out there. And in this world, you know, if I'm doing it, I feel like I at least owe some responsibility to at least let you know about this situation. So again, if you have any information that can help to the arrest of sick individuals, work within the legal system, you know? Do not go on vigilante justice, okay? Literally, the feds, Europol, have developed systems to get as easy... They have designed easy systems for you to use to help them identify illegal material, and if you can do that, it actually leads to tangible arrests. It actually contributes to a ongoing investigation. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of stuff we talked about today, but yeah, this is me, Mutahar, and I'm out.